Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is. Woo! Where the heck is Starlight? I'll tell you, this park has got a lot of art. Look at that. There's an astronaut behind Starlight. And funny, this dude here, who do you think he looks like? I don't know. To me, every time I look at this picture here, I don't know who he is, but our old president. I don't know who that is though. But anyway, this is Starlight, and if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. And thank you for all of you being here. So thank you for all of you that give me thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, plus give me a thumbs up, and also don't forget you can share my videos with your family or friends. Some birds, and I'm looking around, and I'm gonna say a bumblebee because I seen one earlier. And don't forget you can leave me a comment down below, beep beep beep, and also don't forget the notification bell. Plus you can find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Also, if anyone would love to send any love donations, you can through my Cash App, and I will have that information here. Ding! And today, here we go. Kind of funny. Starlight just got done. This is my vehicle, and I'll tell you what, my battery is ready to die. I need a new phone right now. So my phone and my battery is not doing well. But this is my vehicle, and today's video is about people who is, this is anybody that's car camping. Maybe you're traveling around with an RV. I have an SUV. It could be people in a van or whoever, car camping one way or another. People that sleep in their vehicles, whatever kind of vehicle, because I've seen it all. I've seen so many people doing what I'm doing, but of course my situation is it's different than most people, because God put me in this because I needed to work on myself and get alone with myself to discover who I am. So this video is about car camping information, and it's about the kind of food that lasts long or doesn't last long, and that is without ice. Starlight does not use ice. Isn't that crazy? So I learned a lot of things on this, so this video is to help people, is that you can do this without ice, because I'll tell you what, I would have to buy ice every day, and you guess what? It makes a big mess. I've only bought ice one time on this whole journey. I gotta think back. 2 times I bought ice in 3 years of being in my car, and ice is a big mess, Of course, you don't have ice packs, how am I going to freeze those babies? Ice packs would be the way to go, but because I live in my car and I don't have a freezer in my car, I don't have the space for that. So Starlight is making a video about what kind of food, Starlight, does last long. And I don't eat meat, but I do know about meat, because I even though I don't eat meat, is I picked up a lot of meat and I pass it around to homeless people or anybody out there in need. And recently I did pick up, it was frozen steak and frozen fish, and I found a guy right out here. Yeah, right here. He was, let me see, he was coming right on this little ramp here, and bam, that's where Starlight ran and grabbed him. I let him know, hey, this is what I do. I have some food if you need any, and he took the steak and the fish. And it was so funny, because the next day, him and his buddy came through here, and his buddy was eating that steak. So, and they still were alive. So yes, now when it comes to meat, depending on where you are, as far as, how long it will last without, any, it really matters how you have it stored in your car, and what time of year is it, what state are you in, so this is a big, huge thing is like, now if you were in the wintertime, and you had meat, of course it would last longer without any ice. But like I said, I do not eat meat, and so really what I've learned, like really, it's, if you were gonna buy meat, it can last like 2 days, depending on what kind of meat that is without ice, like if you go to, now when I say 2 days, no, that's if it's frozen. If it's frozen, 2 days. But if it's not frozen, you gotta really eat that stuff up, because I don't want any of you to get sick. But if it's frozen stuff, depending on what time of day and how you got it in your vehicle, and I'll just show you my vehicle here. So Starlight is, I'll just show you how organized Starlight is. This is where all my lids go. This here is pretty much all my seasonings and stuff like that. This is just what I cooked here tonight. Is Starlight made some pasta, and this is Pantene. I think that's how it's not bananas, but it's the other stuff. I've never really fried any of that, but tonight is my first night. This is where I have like rice, oatmeal, my peanuts and honey in that area. This is all dry beans, all kinds of beans. Got beans. Starlight loves beans. That's where I get my protein. And this is my, odds and ends. Like if I had, I don't eat meat, but this is fish. But I, sometimes I feed the animals that, and here is where I normally put my vegetables. So potatoes are great, and depending on how they are when you pick them up, onions, you gotta really, those actually, depending on how they were, so onions last, depending on the size, depending on how they, how good they were when you picked them up. So you got to really keep an eye on the onions. And so that about a week, depending on how big they are and how you got it, how you have it in your car or wherever, what vehicle you have. Tomatoes is like the worst thing as far as like no ice. That is something like, I really don't like buying whole tomatoes, so a couple days with like whole tomatoes, but cherry tomatoes are the best. And even when you want to add them in a salad, don't chop your tomatoes. You're really going to want to have cherry tomatoes, anything little small. They got different names of like little small tomatoes. That would be the best thing, not to put them up. And I've actually even preserved my food in here. I've made pickles in here. I have preserved food in my car, and that is the best way, but you got to make sure you got containers to really do that, and that lasts a long time. I've done that all kinds of, like cauliflower. I had extra cauliflower. I had all kinds of goodies, and I made my own mixture, and it really came out good. I didn't use any sugar. I used honey, and so you can make your own mixture as far as, and that is the best way to do some of the food where, like cherry tomatoes, you can do that, and that will last a long time. Like pickles lasted a long time, and I'll show you what I did with pickles. It's amazing. I'm just going to pull out these little guys right here. They're plastic containers, like the Dollar Tree has those. You can get 2 of them for $1.50 because the prices went up. But this is what I had pickles in. And I didn't have canning jars, but I was so amazed how, because I had so much cucumbers, and cucumbers, speaking of cucumbers go super fast in your car. So cucumbers is something that you want to keep an eye on. And depending, how they were when you got them, wherever you got them, if it was at a food bank or at a grocery store, wherever you got them, if they were really good condition, you still got to keep an eye on those. And, because those will go fast. They don't sit around very long. Now, it is odd. I do have mayonnaise. It doesn't need to be refrigerated. I've eaten lots of meals with mayonnaise, and I don't get sick. It doesn't get me sick. I always thought you had to have mayonnaise refrigerated, but no. I have been eating a lot of potato salad, macaroni salad, you name it. So mayonnaise, you don't have to buy the regular mayonnaise, but, right now I actually do have like regular mayonnaise. Starlight's naughty. So, other things is salad stuff. What I've learned is spinach goes absolutely fast. 2 days, bam, it's gone. It's old. So if you're gonna buy spinach, you got to keep an eye on it. And sorry about that. And if you can, if possible, when you see that it's starting to get bad, is sort it out, because otherwise all that old stuff is going to get the stuff that's okay. And I mean, it does go fast. A couple days, there goes your fresh spinach is nasty. And when it comes to car camping or however you travel, I get messages from the universe. It's so crazy. The universe will let me know, hey Starlight, you got to check something in your car, because if I am eating the same meal for days, I might not go where my potatoes are. Hang on, I might not go in there, and so once one thing gets rotten or starts to get rotten, like I got yams in here, I gotta deal with those soon. Is once you got one that's rotten, you really gotta keep things clean, because you could draw bugs in your car. You don't want to draw bugs in your car. That's why just recently I through this whole thing. And this is challenging because I live in my car. I can't bring this to a house, and you can't go to the car wash. But I have taken all these out and wiped them out. And like vinegar is really good to do that, because bugs don't like vinegar. I have bleach in here to to do that, to clean anything up. So bleach is good too. So let me see, I just was thinking of something. So vegetables, so when it comes to salad, is what I've learned on this journey is romaine lettuce is probably the best to buy, because it stays longer, but you still got to keep an eye on it. But like I said, spinach is the worst. You got to really eat that up in a couple of days, and after 2 days, bam, you're going to start seeing lettuce get a kind of funky, and it's really frustrating, because I do go to a lot of food pantries. The food looks great when I pick it up, and then I got to really keep an eye on this stuff. So other thing that goes really good is Brussels sprouts last pretty good, but you really got to keep an eye no matter what, because the temperatures where you are, wherever you are, I don't know what state you are in, if you're in a colder area, and with the food, and I don't do this, but I'm just telling you, is with this situation is you want to park in the shade as much as possible, but Starlight a lot of times parks anywhere, and because I do use my dashboard as a oven and my microwave, so that is what you're going to want to do, is really to park your car in the shade. Now I don't have it now, but like right now, I used to have things blocking inside of these, and you can do that so it blocks out some of the heat, that way things, I took all them out because they were falling apart and, re-cleaning them. But it's those things that you put on your windows to keep the sun out. I bought some of those, and then I just cut those and put those in there. And that will help out our whoopsie as keeping some heat out. I'm just trying to think of other stuff. Like corn on a cob, man, that actually does good. Corn on a cob, yams. Yams are pretty much like potatoes, but you do have to keep an eye on no matter what. Fruit, when it comes to fruit, I'm just thinking of the things that I've dealt with. Fruit, strawberries is one of the worst. Just like at your house, strawberries go bad. You gotta eat those babies up and keep an eye and make sure you do not put those in sealed containers. Just like the way you buy it at a store, you're really gonna want to rinse them off and then just put them back in that same container. And really try to be mindful of how you put things back in your car, because you really don't want, you want to have that drain out of the container before you put it in your car, because it's going to, no matter what, that smell with the holes in there, it's going to draw, animals or bugs are going to be like, hey, do you got some strawberries in there, Starlight? Because you can't have that in a sealed container, because you will have your strawberries will die right away. The strawberries are the worst. Blueberries last a pretty long time. Grapes, and the same thing with the grapes and the blueberries is that you got to make sure you get a container that has holes in all these, because if you, just like the way you buy them in a store, like the grapes have holes in the bags. So I actually have a container. Let me see if I can find it. I lost the top earlier, so maybe I can find this really quick here. Maybe not. But hang on, I know I had it earlier. There it is. See, now Starly is a smart chick, because there's times I bought or got like some food. Now this was a container that was at a store, and it has holes in it. So this is what I do is I can, this container here, because it's got the holes, I can put blueberries in there, and like when I'm down to the last bit of the blueberries, I can store those in there, grapes, strawberries, or whatever. So that is a good way, if you got a container that has holes in there, that way then your fruit like that will last a good time. Bananas is pretty much the way they are in the car, and you really got to be careful. Like I used to have some of my food in these plastic drawers, and then I noticed that it was for some reason the moisture was really bad, and so I had to put, I used to have potatoes all in there and all that stuff, and then I ended up having to buy this cooler to put potatoes in there. So you really got to be mindful of the kind of food you have. Apples last a long time. They're the best fruit that lasts a long time. Hello. Let's see, what other kind of fruit? Limes and lemons last a long time. Pineapple is something that you better eat that stuff up, man. If you get a whole thing of fresh pineapple, that is something, in like a few days you wanna have that cut, put it in a bowl, really if you have a whole fresh thing of pineapple, don't mess around with pineapple, because I went through this as I had pineapple, and I just had it sitting, I didn't know, it was a lesson to learn. I had a whole pineapple in the back of my car, and the heat was going at it, and I thought, hey, the pineapple looks good, but it was not good, so you really don't want to have food poisoning with pineapple, because it will heat up inside, it will look great on the outside, and it will look like a pineapple, but man, when you taste it, it's gone bad. So you really got to keep an eye on all your food, and always do checks. And always wipe things down and make sure, like I have a bucket out here. I'll quick. These are things that I've been doing the whole time, but that bucket here, I'll empty that bucket because that's where all my cleaning stuff is. And every so often, like I will put all those dishes in one of my bags that I have, one of these orange bags here. And because even though those dishes are clean, somehow or another things get down in the bottom after a period of time, and you want to every so often to whoopsie, sorry about that, you always want to go through everything. And when you start noticing something, just go a section at a time, take everything out, wipe things down like oils or anything, because you don't want to draw bugs in your car. I'm trying to think of anything else. So yeah, lettuce is one of the worst things, but like I said, romaine lettuce is the best that I found that actually will last longer. And like iceberg, that's not the greatest anyway, so iceberg will go quick, like spinach will go really super fast. And so that's why you got to be mindful of how much food are you grabbing. And that's why even when I go to the food pantry, I have to think, do I need that much food? Maybe I can let some of that go. And if you ever have any questions, hey Sterling, what about this food? Because I could easily, I'm not naming all the food, I'm just thinking of all the food that I can think of right now. And if you got any questions about car camping, please don't hesitate, because I have learned a lot on this. I mean, like you see organized I am, with this is where all my cooking stuff, I got a rice cooker, a couple pans, I got my plugs. Let's see, this is where I have all my utensils there, my spoons and my fuel for my stove. And there's my stove. The next thing I really need is a table. If I get like a folding table, I did have one, but I ended up dropping it off somewhere. Is a little folding table would be amazing, because they have an outlet out here, but there's no table near it. So anyway, so you definitely do, you want to be really organized, that way it's easy to find stuff, and because I'm a Virgo. And also to they do have those bags to keep your stuff cold or hot. That would be a great thing to buy. I gave mine away. I'm always giving things away. It was a brand new bag, and I had food, and I gave it to homeless people or somebody that needed it. So always be mindful of how much you're grabbing, and like, okay, can I eat this up in how many days? Grapes are great, but you got to keep an eye on all your stuff. And like I said, just you got to keep the stuff cleaned and organized is really best, so you can find it. So when the weather's kind of shaky sometimes, you know right where to find it. You don't have to go, hey, where did I stick this thing? So you really do. You want to keep things clean and keep an eye on your stuff, because if you go out and eat and you're not eating meals, or maybe you're eating like Starlight, I have a meal that will last me for a few days. And the other thing that is really bad and don't last long is beans. Like, even though I cook my beans, because I got a whole bunch of dry beans do not last long. So beans, like within 4 days, bam, they're gonna not be good. And also the other thing I want to say is spaghetti sauce, bam, that goes super, super fast. Like, you'd be lucky if you can get through 3 days of any sauce stuff. It will, you'll know it. You will know it when sauce goes bad. And always make sure you smell your food. If you, what is it? I have a statement. If you're not sure, it's not worth taking the risk. Believe me, I've had food poisoning on this. And what was it? It was, I'm trying to think what kind of fruit, because it looked good, But no, actually it didn't look good, as I cut out the bad spots out. And I'm trying to think, and it tasted okay, but I got food poisoning. So you do have to be careful about cutting. I'm trying to think if that was peaches, but I ate the whole entire thing, and before you knew it, somebody had to call 911 up because I couldn't call 911. I was like in so much pain. So you really got to watch out. And I'm trying to think with that, I had to cut that up, so I'm not sure if it was peaches or what. And oranges last a long time in a car without being refrigerated. So oranges is amazing. Unless something actually gets on it. Sometimes I think lemons on top of oranges kind of messes up the oranges. So that is what you got to kind of test out for yourself as far as what kind of fruit should go together, because something does happen in my car and I haven't figured out the science of it all. But anyway, I hope you get a lot of help from this. And I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace. Thank you for watching. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.